I haven't been to my local comic store in 5, 6 weeks. So this is what I had waiting for me when I got there. Actually, my store, Gauntlet Comics, is going to stop selling new comics at the end of July, and they're going to not have the storefront. They're just going to do online. So I am switching to another LCS, but I wanted to say goodbye to Abby, who was really awesome as a store manager. And I always get asked what books I got on New Comic Book Day, and since they're 30 miles away, I never go on Wednesdays. So I decided that I'll do a New Comic Book Day Saturday edition. Thanks. So my store is one of those stores that bags and boards everything, even the new books, which I don't like because then you can't flip through them. This is Batman: The Adventures Continues. This is the original team they had from back in the day when they did the animated series books. I like it a lot. They've pretty good writing, pretty fun story. I like this era of Batman. This is probably my favorite era of Batman. So I've been picking it up and I've been enjoying it because comics sometimes can be fun. They don't have to always be deep. They don't always have to be somber. They don't have to make a point. They can just be entertainment. So that's what you got here. Batman Detective 3 and 4. The first issue I thought sucked. Second issue was much better. So I've decided to stay with the series. It's only 6 issue series. Tom Taylor is doing the writing. Tom Taylor, in my opinion, is one of the most consistent comic book writers that does big two work. I was surprised I didn't like the first issue, but everybody has a bad day. This is Batman Reptilian, written by Garth Ennis and drawn by Liam Sharp. And Liam Sharp is channeling some Dave McKean, Bill Sienkiewicz, otherworldly goodness in his art lately. Really looking forward to this. This is one of my personal fun favorites. This is Challenge of the Super Sons. This was a web series only first, and then it became a DC, then it actually became in print. And this is by Peter Tomasi, and I always enjoyed this dynamic. I'm not a huge fan of Damien as a character, but Peter Tomasi always knew how to write him in a way where you just didn't want to punch him in the face all the time. And this dynamic between these two, I mean, why they aged Jonathan Kent so he could be old enough to join the Legion of Superheroes for a Legion of Superheroes story by Brian Bendis that even Legion fans didn't care for. And they are some of the most hardcore superhero fans in comics. Why they did it is beyond me. I guess you pay Bendis a lot of money, you give him what he wants. But they threw away 15 years worth of stories between these two. This was a great dynamic. It's really short-sighted of them. And they decided to keep Jonathan Kent aged, at least for now. So, again, I just think it's a bad dynamic. You have something that's popular that works, mine it into the ground. This is Godzilla Rivals. This is Hedorah. Not a fan of the art so far. I kind of liked it when IDW was going for kind of like more realistic type of stuff. This is okay. It's not bad. It seems more about the people. But I got this for my son, and in the past I've liked what they've done with the property, so we'll see. But looks okay. This is Heroes Reborn 4, and I only got this from the recommendation of the cartoonist Kayfabe Ringside Seats Facebook group because James Stokoe drew this, and look at this. That is just freaking awesome. I don't care what's going on in this story. I don't know what's going on in this story. All I know is James Stokoe drew the hell out of it. That's what I care about. This is probably one of my favorite DC books. I don't get a lot of DC. I don't get a lot of Marvel. Nightwing by Tom Taylor. Nightwing is fun and interesting. Tom Taylor gets this character. They're bringing more of the Bat family as well in it. So this whole moratorium of Bat characters cannot be together in a book with the Didio era seems to be gone, which is good. I think the family element, the Bat family element, is adds a little interest. Nonstop Spider-Man. I don't like the regular Spider-Man by Nick Spencer. Joe Kelly is writing this, and Chris Bachalo is drawing it. And Chris Bachalo, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, It's just doing a great job. This is a kind of like a high speed, high energy type of Spider-Man, but it's written well, great art, and it's fun. Now, this I got because this is the famous Snake Eyes Jam Session issue where Rob pencils each of the pages and they get somebody to do the inks for almost the entire book. You know, Rob, you have Ed Piskor, Jim Rudd, Tom Scioli, Neil Adams. You have so many greats that are inking this book. I'm really looking forward to reading this. Sonic, I'm not a huge fan. I never really played the games. I got this more from my son. My son's getting a job. He's got a job, so he can start buying these things. But 30th anniversary, and you have to admit that it's pretty interesting that they've been able to keep a video game character that was licensed to a comic alive and kicking as far as being comics. It's not a bad comic. It's consistent. It's just not as much my cup of tea, but it's not bad. Now, this is my stuff. This is the now number 10, the anthology by Fantagraphics. I'm just really looking forward to this. This is just, I know it's going to be good. And anthologies, you're not going to love everything. You're not going to like everything. Some stuff you're going to dislike. But if you find a few stories from creators that you're not familiar with, that you like, and you can start researching them, that's to me really the goal of the anthology. It's like a buffet. You're not going to like everything. Okay, X-Men 1. I have not gotten any of the X-Men reboot comics at all. And I know Gary Duggan is the one that's drawing this. Now, this is the same issue, but Uncle Rob did a variant for it. And I just love how he puts Deadpool on the cover. Even though Deadpool is not part of the X-Men, but Rob is like, hey, I'm drawing a cover. I'm putting the character that I created on this book. I just love the chutzpah. I would do the same thing. Next issue of Sonic the Hedgehog. Ian Flynn did like the first 30 some odd issues, did a great job. I think the follow-up has been good too. I think Ian Flynn has a certain knack for the characters that I kind of miss, but the book really hasn't dropped off. And this is my favorite monthly ongoing comic for the past 5 years. This is the ongoing Ninja Turtles book. I always get cover B. I always get the Eastman cover because look at this. This is just beautiful. Here, and I have 3 issues of that, so it might have been more than 6 weeks since I've been to the comic book store. Here we go. Look at that. It's just so good. And I have one more. I think it just dropped this week, if I'm not mistaken. I'm tired of the glare, so I'm just taking out the comics. Oh my god, it's not going to be Gen Mint 10. Oh my gosh. Okay. Eastman. Here's a DC book that I really enjoy. I've enjoyed the Future Shape issues. I enjoyed issue 1. It's Joelle Jones' Wonder Girl. I think she's a great writer. I think when she's drawing her own work... Oh, there's Cassie. I like how they tie that one in. I think when she writes and draws her own work, it just elevates it. There's something about it. But her writing is good. Her art is good. I think when she does both, that's when you get the Genesis. Venom 200 ends the Donny Cates run. I'm looking forward to this. This was a good run. I've never really been into Venom. Never really... Didn't hate him. Just never really got into Venom. I never got into Venom. But this has been a good run. They did a lot of good characterization work. For superhero stuff, it wasn't bad. Picked up this trade because I never had it. And I figured I'd read up on it. And finally, I got this. Fist of the North Star. This is like... I read about 25 pages in a bookstore a few weeks ago. And this is sort of like a manga version of Mad Max, The Road Warrior from the 80s. Just a lot more violent in manga form. I'm really looking forward to this. So, that's it. My new store is going to be Phantom of the Attic in Oakland. Jeff is awesome. I've been able to order books from him, and I always said that if something happens to my LCS here, I would order directly from him. The Miami comic book scene is not great. It's not good at all for independence. There's a couple of really good stores in the next county, but I like the service that I've gotten from Phantom of the Attic, and they're reliable, so that's what I'm going to go with. There are cons here and there, but basically Miami is really not great for comics. It's just, it's not. Most of the stores are full of Funko Pops, they're full of statues, they're full of everything but the comics. And they all have all the slab comics. But that's it. So that's what I got. Those are my stream of consciousness comments, excuse me. And hope I didn't bore you too much. Thanks.